So who's ready to cry? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1129. We had last week off, and I didn't know this before, I was going to be downloading the episode for last week, but yeah, I didn't know that was going to be a thing. But now we're back, and I kind of have already been spoiled as to what's about to start, but it's not really a surprise because I guessed it. I actually guessed it with the last episode based on how this was going in terms of its presentation and all. Because this is something that a lot of shows have done in the past where it's like, oh, you're going to set, and One Piece has even done in the past, you're going to set up this backstory, but you're not going to show it yet. And then once something happens, something big happens that connects to the backstory in some way, that is when you head into the backstory. And in this case, Saint Saturn's arrival and Bonnie's reaction to him and even attacking him is that moment where we're finally going to go into the backstory that was set up for Kuma and Bonnie. And with all the setup that this backstory has had, this backstory has had probably more setup than most. Because if you really think about it, this backstory has been set up since Shabandi. Pre-time skip. Bonnie showed hints in that arc of what is about to happen. Even with her very clear hatred of, the elders and the celestial dragons and all, we saw that with how she reacted to Zoro about to fuck everything up with the celestial dragons on Shabandi and her having to save him. And then in Marineford we saw Bonnie watching the pacifistas attacking during the battle. She's on Shabandi watching via the video transponder snail and crying. And we know why she was crying watching the pacifistas now, because it's her father, or, images of her father. And then we saw, even during the reverie, where she was sneaking in as Queen Dowager Connie, which, funny, haha. But, of the Sorbet Kingdom and everything. So, everything has been so set up so excellently. More so than, again, I think any other. And even with the Kuma aspect. The fact that Kuma helped them escape Shabandi. The fact that Kuma protected their ship during the 2-year time skip. And here's one thing that I bet you didn't think of. And this one might just be me putting forth something like a little fun fan theory kind of thing. There's only one person, to my knowledge, unless I'm forgetting anyone, that Kuma used his powers to send away in Thriller Bark. Because we saw him use the powers on Shabandi with the entire Straw Hat crew. But on Thriller Bark, he only used it on one person. This was during his debut, because he debuted at near the end of Thriller Bark. The one person he used his powers on was Perona. He saw her and instantly asked her, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And when she responds she'd like to go to a dark, damp castle, very spooky atmosphere and everything, he sends her to the Muggy Kingdom, to Dracula Mihawk's castle. Why did he save her there? Why did he, send her away from Thriller Bark with all the shit that was going down and was about to happen? There was no reason for him to do that. She wasn't in the way of anything. She wasn't causing, huge problems. The thing she was doing at the time, I believe this was when she was raiding the Straw Hat ship, right? Her and her zombie minions were raiding the Straw Hat ship at the time. So this kind of implies that he was either protecting the Straw Hats or My thought was Perona has pink hair. I wonder if seeing her made Kuma think of Bonnie, who also has pink hair. I wonder if he, like, had this, like, moment of humanity where he's like, I don't know who this girl is, but she reminds me of my daughter. I want to save her. That would be an interesting twist on things, would it not? I have no idea, like, if there's any deep reason for why he did what he did with her. There's probably not. But I've been thinking, like, this entire past week, as to what this is all going to mean and everything, and what this backstory is going to entail, and I'm very curious. I'm very curious and I'm very excited. But I'm also not excited because I know I'm going to cry. With how much this backstory is set up and with how sad it's set up to be, like, One Piece has a lot of sad backstories. Oda's an absolute master at that. And there's some that are sadder than others. Two examples being Koala and the saddest, Law. That's right, I believe that Law's backstory is the single saddest in the series. And so I think this could be up there with the likes of Koala and Law's backstories. I genuinely think that this backstory, depending on how it's executed and depending how well how sad it is, I think it could be up there. And even the opening, the current opening is setting up for this to be devastating. And I'm a crybaby. I am self-admittedly a crybaby. I tend to cry pretty easily. Not just the sad stuff, at stuff that I find really epic, really awesome, really cathartic. All kinds of emotions can make me cry. I can cry when I'm angry. I can cry when I'm just afraid even sometimes. And with this would probably be sad. And I feel like that's the easiest to make me cry, so I'm more than likely going to cry here. I mean, if I cry literally every single time I hear Robin yell out, I want to live, I think this is going to make me break. um, like, I've already been strongly endeared to Bonnie in this arc, just so far. And this is probably also going to do some heavy lifting in terms of that, which I'm all for. Like, I'm absolutely all for becoming even more endeared to Bonnie. I'm just I'm just curious as to what's going to happen, as to where we're going to go from here and how this backstory is going to be handled. Also, if we're going to start in it right away or if we're going to start in, like, part way through the episode, because that's been done before too. But let's get into this and find out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Before we do, though, I need to hydrate, because I think I just cried out half of my body's water. This is just the first episode of this flashback, and it already, like, broke me. Oh, fuck. And it's only bound to get even harder from here. Oh, Jesus. No, I'm not okay. Um, Jesus. So, Kuma is the last living survivor of the Buccaneer people, an ancient race of people who were taken out by the government because of their involvement in what I assume is the Void Century and everything that like led into that and led into the world government being founded in the first place and all. And he and his parents were enslaved because of that. The doctor who delivered Kuma tried to help but couldn't in the end. And both of Kuma's parents were killed. His father being killed right in front of him with his blood spraying all over his face. Fuck you, Oda. Like, there's a very specific reason why that, like, got to me as hard as it did. I can't say right now. I'll leave it at that. Um, uh, but some people might know. Some people might know there's something else that had basically that same kind of thing happen in it. From something that came out recently. And I'll leave it at that. But that fucked me up really badly. And like this is after also he had found out his mother was killed. He's been enslaved, and although he tried to put on a brave face for his father, it's like it was obvious he was, being tortured and treated like shit. And Jesus. On top of that, he ends up being taken to God Valley, which, yeah, we're getting information on that now. And St. Figurland Garland was there with his stupid ass haircut. And apparently they're doing a human hunt where the celestial dragons like literally just I guess hunt down the inhabitants of an island and take it over. Yeah, because needed to give us more reasons to hate the celestial dragons and the world government, didn't you, Oda? This episode definitely is doing it. And it's like I think like the celestial dragons might be like the most evil, most hateable characters in anything I've ever seen. Like the fact that Oda has written them to be so frighteningly evil and not make it goofy or cartoonish or anything, but to actually make it so aggressively scary levels of evil. Even when you have characters who are meant to like be seen as like ridiculous and like goofy and stupid like Charlos, it's like the point still stands. It's like this is terrifying. It's not funny. It's not like lighthearted in any way. Seeing this shit happen, like seeing Kuma's father like murdered so casually. I'm and then on top of that, again, you have this human hunt, which, like, so many levels of fucked up there. I'm disassociating, sorry. I I'm I'm gonna have a hard time with this flashback. And I know there that some of this was definitely because of my expectations going into it. Like, obviously, like, I was prepared to cry, and because of that, it came easier. Um, but it's also on top of that the fact that I didn't try to hold it back. There's a lot of reactions where I'm trying my best not to cry, where I try my best to be able to, keep it in. But it's like I wasn't even trying here. Because I knew it was pointless. It's One Piece. One Piece sad backstories, always gonna fuck me up. So I didn't even try, and it didn't take any time at all. Just already destroying me. And then at the end, we see Kuma being dragged back by the other slaves, the other prisoners, who are going to be hunted as well. Which it's like is a wild thing. It's like, oh, go get that other slave. Go get him. Go bring him back. And it's like they're doing this because they don't want to be killed, but they're going to literally be hunted and killed anyway. What is the point? There is literally no reason for them to listen. They're not being guarded. They're not being, like, accompanied by anyone. Honestly, it would make more sense for them to help Kuma here and help him escape and escape with him. Which looks like it might be happening, but I'll get to that in a second. Because it's just like, how the fuck are you, like, supposed to, like, see this as anything else than you are basically being given the opportunity for freedom here. The only thing I can maybe say is their reasoning is maybe they're just they've had so much fear put into them that they just have no hope. They don't believe that anything can happen with them escaping. Or maybe it has to do with St. Figurlin Garling, because we saw how fast he can move. Maybe they're thinking it's like, oh, we won't be able to get far enough away before they realize and send him after us. It's possible. But we see at the end here, Kuma is seemingly saved by the arrival of Emporio Ivankov, who, yeah, he's in the opening. I expected he was coming. And we know that he and Kuma are good friends who were part of the Revolutionary Army together. But now we see their friendship clearly is going to predate that. But we also see Ivankov's maybe sister? Unclear if, like, actual sister or not, but Ginny. Either actual sister or, like, more of a honorary title being given because of their closeness. But, or, like, adopted. I should add that in there too. Like, they could be adopted siblings. But Ginny is very clearly Bonnie's mom, right? She looks just like Bonnie. She really does. And she's introduced eating, and we know Bonnie is, the glutton and everything, and we know she loves to eat. Come on. It's obvious. So Kuma has known Ginny, Bonnie's mother, since he was 4 years old. And the same with knowing, or I assume he's still 4 here. It didn't like say there was like a time skip or anything after that. Um, and he's known Ivankov the same amount of time. The question kind of comes down to what happened to Bonnie's mother. Where is she, or if she's even alive still? Um, and what led to everything else that we see happening? Because I assume Ivankov and Ginny are going to help Kuma escape here. I assume we're also going to see how they all met Dragon. Was Ginny a part of the Revolutionary Army at first, too? That would be interesting. If she actually also helped start it. Um, we can definitely see why Kuma would have joined, though. We can see why he would have it out for the world government. So that's a thing. But yeah, it's like... Listen, I know he's in the opening, but I was so surprised by his appearance. I just really did not see that coming at this point. I also wonder, does he have his devil fruit power at this time or not? That's a curious thing to take into account. Does he already have the horm fruit? I I mean, there's not really any evidence to or against that in this episode, so I maybe we'll find out, or maybe we'll see the moment when he actually eats the fruit. That would be interesting. I assume we're going to see the moment when Kuma eats his, because he doesn't have his fruit yet. I wonder how long this how long this flashback's gonna be, because the Odin flashback was lengthy, quite a bit. Law's flashback had some good length to it. I feel like this flashback's gonna be a good amount of time as well, and I feel like it's gonna really delve into like everything, and I'm very interested to see how that goes. We did get a little bit before the flashback started, which was mostly just confirming that Saturn did let Bonnie stab him, seemingly for the sake of being able to grab her and like hold her while everybody aimed to kill her. So confirmation that Saturn wants her dead specifically. Also, Saturn has a fucking healing factor, which it's just like, oh, okay, great. I wonder though, how strong of a healing factor is it? Because healing factors can be like, oh, I can heal like a simple stab wound like that, but if a cannon blows off my head, I'm dead. Like, does he have? Is his head his weak point? Is like, does he have like only a certain amount of damage he can take in one go? How does this work? Is it like a perfect healing factor, sort of more akin to like Deadpool and Wolverine? How much can he heal from? That's the question. I don't know if we're going to be explicitly told so, but yeah, we'll see. Also, Frankie rescuing Luffy from Saturn was great. Seeing Frankie just take that action was awesome. Sanji trying to fight back, Atlas trying to fight back. But it seems like the big thing is Saturn seems to have this pressure he's exerting. Vegapunk is saying it might be from a devil fruit, but I'm still thinking it's just his hockey. Of course, his devil fruit could be behind it too. That is a possibility. But it just comes across like hockey to me. It almost comes across like Color of the Supreme King. It might be something different. It's possible. But yeah. One thing I'm very excited for now, because we saw like the little bits of Bonnie's memory showing Kuma dancing like Nika for her. I'm very interested for when Bonnie actually sees Luffy transform, because she has not seen that yet. You have to realize, Bonnie has not seen Gear 5th Luffy yet. And with this information that, like, the story of Nika was passed down to her from her father, like, that's a big deal. When she sees him transform, when she sees Nika, that itself is going to be super emotional. And I feel like we get like a little glimpse of that in the opening, because there's the part where it like zooms in on Bonnie's face and it shows what looks like Kuma doing the Nika pose in her eye. So I think we're going to see that. Probably after the flashback, I would presume. But we see that Saturn was on God Valley too, which, that tracks at this point. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane to see all of this horrific shit. But like I said, this is only the beginning. Like, this is going to get crazier and more intense, and this backstory is going to get really sad. Because, like, again, Bonnie hasn't even been introduced to the backstory yet. This is still just Kuma's backstory at this point. Also, by the way, I love that the mid card was changed specifically for this flashback. They did the same thing during the Odin flashback in Wano, and it was so good. Because it's like in the Odin flashback, they showed like one side of the mid card was dedicated to like Roger and Whitebeard and Odin, and then the other half, the other part of it was dedicated to Luffy and his crew, and it was showing parallels between the current day and the day of Roger. And that was important because the parallels between Luffy and Roger was always a big deal. So seeing that represented in that kind of mid-card way was fantastic. And now this one seems to be, if it's going to be the same every time, focusing on Kuma and Bonnie. If they're going to do it like the Wano one, though, it will be slightly different each time. Which, that's going to be interesting to see if they do. If it's just the Kuma and Bonnie one, that's cute and fun and wonderful and potentially devastating, but I kind of would love to see them change it up each time. Especially since, again, they took 6 months off. It's like, I'm still surprised they took a break last week because they took 6 months off. It's like, oh, let's take 6 months off to make sure that, one, we separate the time between the manga and the anime a little more again, and to make sure we can upgrade animation and soundtrack and stuff like that more and more. But then, like, 5 weeks into being back, let's take another week off, because why the fuck not? It's like, come on, you didn't need to do that. You absolutely did not need to do that at this point. That was a waste of time. You did that because the backstory started in this episode. You gave the week between because you wanted to build that up a little more. And don't get me wrong, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm all for waiting. I don't believe in binging shows. I prefer to wait because it builds up your hype, it builds up your expectation, your interest. And a week is fine. I can deal with a week. But it's just like, you just had 6 months off. I just want more. I'm not going to binge it, of course. Especially since I'm caught up anyway. I really can't. But still. It's going to get crazier from here. And I'm not ready, and I'm not going to be okay. But at least we will have a week in between, so it gives me some time to recover. That helps at least. I'm very curious to see, though, what happens with Ivankov and Ginny and saving Kuma here. Where did they come from? Are they slaves too? I could believe it. It's just, they seemingly just came out of nowhere. Were they inhabitants of God's Valley? That would be interesting. If they were actually, like, born here on God Valley, that would be fascinating. Because that would give us, like, a really interesting origin for Ivankov. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next time. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? Did it make you break? Did you cry as well? Please tell me I'm not alone. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.